If you enjoyed the channel and our video content and would like to support us, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can sign up to our Patreon site, which is a monthly subscription to one of our 4 tiers, each giving you something different from early access interviews up to exclusive unseen footage. There's also the option of a one-off donation via PayPal, which allows you the option to donate an amount of your choice. Both options really help to keep this channel going and to continue putting out regular content for you good folk. So please take a look at aircrewinterview.tv/donate, and I thank you in advance. Thank you and enjoy.
I converted then. I won't go into that story. They say, you want to go to paratraining with the Army? I said, oh yeah, I can't wait. Georgia in August, and I was 32 years old. But I went. We'll put you can fly the F-4E. And you go to sea survival school as a training officer, but you got to be parachute qualified. So I did all of that. I got in the F-4, the E model, which is the latest one. And it was funny because I'd been flying a souped-up airplane that would still probably whip an F-16
Really?
today, damn near it, yeah.
Wow.
And so I got in the F-4, and yeah, we're doing a Mach 2 run. I went, and it was 1.98 and was out of fuel. I had to come home. They said, what do you think of that? And I said, that's a pig. Well, they didn't like me for that, but I was being honest. These guys had never flown. There's only about 35 of us ever flew that special model one. We go up over U-2s and intercept them. We can go above them. Oh, yeah.
Never heard of that before.
No, it did. We had special doors cut in the sides because it accelerated so fast from about 1.4 up to 2.3. It would choke the engine because we didn't have very ramps. And they built a switch and it would open the doors on the side of the fuselage so air could get by fast enough. Because it would flame out, otherwise you have to come back down, restart it, and go back up. That's how fast it was. This was 1969 when we sold them. So the F-4E, that's all I did. I flew it locally, bombing and that, which was natural for me, easy to do. I'd been in Huns.
Do you enjoy flying the F-4? Because a lot of people love it, some people
yeah, because I was flying. It was just a big contrast to a lot of people who'd only flown some other things like 84, maybe 100s, thought the F-4 was it, which to them it was. To me it was like, eh, you know, but it's all relative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you had
It was great to fly. Also, it had adverse yaw. The first time I got up with a guy to play and practice dogfighting, and I whipped him. Because just like a Hun, you just hold it right in the middle, no aileron, use your rudders, and you could put your nose on him. He says, where'd you learn this? I'm an old Hun pilot. I said, oh yeah, I forgot.
That's it, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you had something interesting happen to you. You got an exchange posting on the F-5.
Yeah, with the Canadians. It was just timing. I was there. They needed an exchange pilot. And I was due for reassignment. I'd been, on post there at base for several years. And I fit the bill. Lots of fighter experience is what they wanted. So it was a command staff job, but you also flew. And it was with a Canadian headquarters air group just outside of Montreal. Ooh, loved it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was right after they were going to separate, and they never did, Quebec, fortunately. That's another story, but I got to fly with the F-5s, checked out at Cold Lake, and just like all their airplanes, they flew their T-Bird as well, T-33. I also flew that in the Air National Guard. When I was flying F-100s, I flew the T-33 and the C-47 Dakota.
Wow, quite a varied range there.
I flew that just for the fun of it, because I couldn't land it. It was a tail dragger. I'd never flown one. And I had a hell of a job. So I'm flying this until I can land it. I finally could. But anyway, I ended up, they always souped up their engines, the Canadians. So the F-5 they had was hot compared to the American one, which is good, yeah. So I ended up there with them for 3 years. And I was 2-year tour, I extended for a year. And that's when I found out I wasn't going to get ripped at 18 years. There were reduction in force.
Okay, yeah.
I was a reserve officer. A lot of guys I knew, they'd see you, nice having you around, you get nothing. Well, I got my 20, then I started getting, the things changed. Would you like to stay? Yeah, okay. So from there, I went to Thailand as a flight safety officer, because you get to, if you volunteer for an overseas tour unaccompanied, you get a better pick when you come back.
Ah, right, I see.
So I did that. It was Thailand was great, and but they wouldn't give me the picks I wanted. But so the best I could get was Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was A-7, which I enjoyed flying that. I hadn't flown for a year, so I flew the T-33 again. They had a couple got recurrent in that. Then I went to the A-7, and then the A-10 came in. They were the first squadron the A-10s were delivered to at Myrtle Beach. And I started flying that, but now I'd been there for X number of years, and they were building the wing over here. And I keep wanting to come to Europe, in the UK. You'd volunteer for that, they'd send you to Asia. You know, it was typical.
Yeah.
So I wangled a friend of mine wangled an assignment for me to come here in the A-10s. And I was in the second squadron, the 5/10th up there, the Purple Buzzard.
So can you remember your first trip in the A-10? Because obviously, like you say, there was no two-seater or simulators. So
Yeah, it was like my first trip in an F-86. You talked about it and got in the cockpit and looked around and said, yeah, okay, this is the speed it flies and the configuration, the flaps and that. You flew it.
So what was
A guy followed you around in his airplane.
Yeah. So what was its handling characteristics like?
It was very easy to fly, but we didn't have any stability systems or autopilots or augmentation systems, so you had to fly it all the time. And being a big airplane, as you can see with this big old wing, it was kind of, you had to fly it constantly, all the time. You trim it up in a little bump, and so you actually worked at it all the time. We did ocean crossings, 8, 9 hours and that. That was, you were tired when you got the other end.
So there was no fly-by-wire at this time?
No.
Oh, so you did
and no augmentation systems either. You were constantly flying the airplane, like an old one.
A pilot's aircraft then?
Yeah, but it was challenging, but good. I found it really good.